Hello, welcome. If you clicked here, you probably know Astro Colony is an automation and resource management game from a company called Terra Games. I hope I said that right. I don't actually know about the pronunciation. I'm going to show you something I think is really cool about the production buildings in Astro Colony, and then I'm going to compare that to some of the production buildings in some of the other automation and factory games as well. So let's get right into it. The first building in Astro Colony we're going to look at is the smelter. This is the advanced version, but they work in the same way. The smelter has two inputs and one output for materials coming into and out of the machine. The smelter will turn your ores and raw ingredients into bars. That is pretty common within the automation genre. What I think is cool about the smelter, specifically in Astro Colony, is that if you click this button, you will see the entire list of resources that this machine can process. You could also then turn on additional recipes, and there's a progress bar below each one. This means that this individual smelter is actually processing multiple ores at the same time, which is really unique, and I think it's really cool in the automation genre. This is the constructor in Astro Colony. This is another building that turns your products into something more advanced. It has two inputs, one on either side, and then it also has two outputs coming out of the back. This works much like the smelter in Astro Colony, where you input one material and it puts something else out. It does have the same cool feature under the recipe list, that you can turn on the copper plates and the gold plates, and this machine, as you can see with these progress bars, will do all three of them at once. And this is actually unlimited. You can turn every recipe on in the machine, and as long as you have the materials in, it will go through and make them all at once, and expel them all on the same two belts coming out of the machine. With one machine producing multiple recipes in Astro Colony, you end up with what we generally call sushi belts in the automation genre. That is where you have multiple resources all coming out onto one belt. And Astro Colony also has its own ways of letting you deal with this as well. There are 4 different logic blocks in the game. The first of which is the splitter. There is also a pusher, there's also a blocker, and there's also a filter. These all work in different ways. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to make an individual video on these logic blocks as well. I typically use the splitter more than any of the rest of them. Something like this item here is iron bars. You've got 2 different areas that the iron bars go to. They produce iron plates in the constructor, and you also have to use the iron bars in the laboratory so that you can make one of your sciences for the game. I just put a splitter on the belt coming out of the smelter. I have one line then going into the constructor, and I have a separate line going into the laboratory. As you can see, I use quite a few of these splitters back to back to split each individual recipe on the belt. If you select an item with a splitter, it specifically only splits that item to the side. The rest of the items on the belt will actually follow the direction that the belt is already pushing. This belt is going forward, so any items that are not an iron bar are automatically going into the next splitter. To compare what the production lines look like in a lot of the other automation games, these are the smelters, and specifically Dyson's here program. You have one ingredient that goes in, the iron ore, and then you get your iron ingot out. Oftentimes, the assembling machine is the same way. You put ingredients in and you get one process out of it. I'm going to include some footage of Factorio, and then I'll leave you with my final thoughts at the end. I'm still not sure what efficient in-game production lines are going to look like, or where this game is going to go at the end of a playthrough even, and how far beyond that we can push. One thing I'm pretty certain on is this is a welcome addition to the automation genre, and I have already had a lot of fun with this, and there's a lot more that I intend to do as well.